Hey guys, so I titled this video life update because in fact it is a whole life update. We have had closest family and friends along with us on this journey, and I just wanted to say thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. And I also just wanted to share this with the rest of my friends and then just shed a little bit of light to this topic. Now, if you know my mom, she's the most sweetest, loving, caring person ever. Literally the best woman on earth. Unfortunately, she was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer back in May. Now, she dreads her mammograms every year just because they're uncomfortable. And she also did have a scare a few years back where they thought they saw a spot in one of her breasts. She had to get a repeat mammogram, and the repeat showed that it was just a dried out milk duct. But just hearing that, oh my god, we have to repeat it, was a scare for her, right? So this year they said they saw a spot on one of her breasts again and that she had to repeat her mammogram. She went and she repeated her mammogram, and it still showed that they were concerned about this spot. So they said, hey, listen, we have to do a biopsy, which is when they go into the spot that they're concerned about and remove a piece of that tissue to test if it is cancerous or not. Now, while we were waiting for the results of that was right around the time of my bridal shower. So, my mom still did everything that she could for me. She, acted like normal, but deep down you could tell she was pretty scared and she was worried about it. Like, she just kind of had this look on her face. And honestly, I didn't think much of it just because, I'm just like, oh, mom's healthy, nothing's wrong. Like, hopefully it's just another dried out milk duct and we can get past this. But it wasn't like that. One day, it was like May, at the end of May, I was at work and my mom texted me and she said, Fanny, the results came back positive. I have breast cancer. Like, those exact words. And I think I just went into a full shock and I was like, what? I went into my work best friend, and her dad actually went through colon cancer. So I was like, dude, my mom's biopsy came back positive. She has breast cancer. And of course, she tried to be, comforting and was like, I've been there. I'm so sorry. Hopefully it's at early stages and she can get past this. And at first I was just quiet and I was just like, yeah. And then I think all of a sudden it like fully hit me, and then I just start bawling, like hysterically, like uncontrollably. And I went to my boss and I said, I have to go. I have to go to my mom. And everybody was understanding. I called my fiance at the time, which is not my husband. And I'm just crying. He's like, oh my god, what's wrong? Like, are you okay? And I tell him, I said, my mom's biopsy came back positive. She has breast cancer. Like, when I was initially told, like, all these thoughts are going through my head, like, what's gonna happen? Like, am I gonna have my mom? Like, is she gonna be here? Like, do we have to go to surgery now? Like, all these different thoughts just go through your head, and it's like you don't know what to think, and my husband was so sweet, and he said, I'm so sorry, babe, like, do you want me to leave work right now? We'll go over there and be with you. And he just was very supportive, so I really do thank him for that. I went straight home. I was still at home at this time, and I just get home and I go straight to my mom and we just start hugging and we both bawl together. You're never prepared in life to hear that your mom has breast cancer. And I don't think you ever want to hear that for sure. But, once it happens and it's just like, what? Like, what do we do now? Like, how do we get rid of it? Like, you want to do anything that you can. And I'm a person that tries to fix situations, and this was a time where my hands were tied and I literally couldn't do anything, and I felt so helpless, and I felt like my world came crashing down, and the one person that I love the most in life is hurting more than I am, and I can't do anything to fix it. Like, that was probably one of the worst parts. So we get home. Once we finally have calmed down, I said, Mom, like, what did they say? And she just said, well, it came back positive. She said the biopsy showed that it was 1.2 centimeters, which is really small. So she said they're going to call me when the surgeon's ready to have surgery. So I said, okay. So it's pretty much like at this point, we just literally have to sit and wait. And I think God works in mysterious ways. And this day that my mom found out, she called her doctor's office and she said, hey, I haven't gotten a call back about my biopsy. And the nurse said, hey, listen, we have an opening at 2 o'clock, I think, and can you come in? My mom said, yeah, sure. And my dad just so happened to be walking in the door when my mom was about to leave to go to her appointment. So this is where God placed him. I'm a firm believer that this is where God placed him. And my dad's also not a person to go with us to the doctor's office. You know, he works a lot, so when he's off, he just wants to go straight home and rest. But this day he was walking in and my mom said, hey, can you go with me to get these biopsy results? I'm scared. So he said, sure. He went in and the doctor told both of them that it did come back positive. She explained to them that it was stage 1, that the tumor was small, and that, you know, if there's any cancer that you could get, breast cancer is the one that you would choose, just because thankfully there's cures, you know. There's surgery, there's radiation, there's chemotherapy, there's different things that we can do to get rid of it. So we got through that. They finally gave her a call. She had to go see an oncologist. I went with her to her oncology appointment, and again she explained to her the same thing. Her doctor has been great. Luckily she spoke Spanish so that they could understand each other. And she just explained to them, you know, what would happen. And she said, you know, at this point the tumor is very small, hopefully just surgery, and then we have a little bit of a little bit of radiation, and we should be fine. So that happened. They ended up scheduling her surgery about 2 weeks after my wedding. So I got married in July, and her surgery was scheduled about 2 weeks later. So we ended up waiting on our honeymoon. So just that whole time, it's just like all of my siblings, we all just kind of had a heaviness of, I don't know what's the word, like guilt that you just can't do anything for mom, and like the person that does the most for you, you can't do anything for. It's just really hard. So my wedding happened. You know, my wedding was beautiful. I'm so thankful that my mom was there. She was happy. You know, and we had a great time. We kind of forgot about what was happening. So a few days before my mom's surgery, she had to go get an ultrasound of the area to make sure that there wasn't any other spots that they had not seen. So then once the surgeon came out, she said, I don't know if they told you, but in the ultrasound there was a few spots that looked suspicious in her lymph nodes, which is right in your underarm area. So they removed 4 spots from there, and then the spot in the breast. She said, we're going to send it to the lab and test it if it's cancerous or not. So we went on our honeymoon a week after my mom's surgery, came back a week later, and then my mom had a appointment while we were gone. So once we came back from our honeymoon, my mom gave me the news that 3 of the 4 lymph nodes also did come back positive, and this changes the game plan. Where it was surgery and radiation, now it's surgery, chemo, and radiation. Now chemo is what she was dreading, just because it's much more harder on the body, and I feel like being a woman, you're scared to lose your hair, you know, lose what makes you feel pretty, lose what makes you feel a woman. So that was another moment of kind of shut down. Like once we felt like we were, you know, closer to the end, we were kind of shut back down, and now she had to do 16 rounds of chemo, and after that we were going to see how long radiation would be. So we went on, I went to my mom's first few chemos, and then me, between my brothers, my dad, and my sister, my brother and my sister, we all balanced out for her to never be alone at chemo. For one, she can't drive because of the medicine that they give her. It's just very strong. And for two, just to always be there for her because she always needed something, and she was weak after chemo. So she had 16 total chemos. She had the first 4, which were, it was one type of medicine, and they were stronger. We were probably at the office for about 4 to 5 hours, sometimes longer. And with those first 4, it was every 2 weeks. And after each one, she was like, after her first one, she was so sick, so nauseous, she couldn't open her eyes, she couldn't get out of bed. Like, it was so bad. And again, this comes to a moment where it's like, my hands are tied, I can't do anything for her to make her feel better, and your heart is literally just cringing as you see her suffer. Her first 4 were literally the hardest. After each one, she was sick for about 4 to 5 days at times, where she was just in bed because she couldn't get up. She just felt so sick and just nasty. She went through about her 3rd chemo, and her hair was slowly coming out. You could just run your hands through this and just a whole chunk of hair would come out. Like, that was another heartbreaking moment. It's like everything that was going on was just heartbreaking and heartbreaking, and like, you can't do anything. It's what's the worst part. So her hair started falling after her 2nd and 3rd treatment. Now after her 3rd treatment, once she started feeling better, she said, "Fanny, I want you to shave my head." And I said, "Okay, Mom, like, I'll do whatever you want." So one day I had to come home from work and shave my mom's head. Like, again, this is something that you're never in life prepared for. Never do you want to go through it. It's literally one of the hardest things I probably have had to do my whole life. So that was probably since about my birthday. Yeah, so about September is when we shaved her head. And you know, it was probably for the best, because slowly it was just worse. Then her eyebrows came out, her eyelashes, her arm hair, her leg hair, literally all the hair in her body was just out. So we finished all of that. Her last chemo was January, and she was able to ring the bell. They have a bell when you're done with chemo that you can ring just to say that I'm done with chemo. And she was just so happy this day. I'm gonna insert some clips here of this day. She was just so happy to finally be done with it, and you know, we're one step closer to the end this time, and hopefully we never have to go back.
quimioterapia. Gracias a Dios.
Are you excited? Estoy haciendo un video, vamos a vloguear. ¿Qué sientes, mami?
Ay, me siento contenta que ya terminé. Fue emocionante porque lloré. Pero estoy contenta que ya se terminaron.
Good job. Love you. That brings us to the end of this video. Hopefully soon I can share with you guys that my mom is 100% cancer free, and hopefully we never in life have to go through this again. If your family is going through something similar and you need somebody to talk to, I'm always open. I'm willing to talk to you and hopefully, give you a little bit of comfort the way that I think I needed at times. Bye guys.